Hey everybody, this is Nick Apostolidis. I play Leon in the recent RE2 remake, and you're listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast.
All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I'm coming at you with another phenomenal interview. And in today's episode, we have with us the one, the only, the iconic GothixModel. Now, GothixModel is a Twitch streamer. She's a partner on Twitch, and she's an inspirational person all around. When it comes to some of the most real advice that you can get on becoming a streamer, when it comes to like being entertaining, being informative, being educational, being yourself on your stream, and also being informed as to how to use social media, that person you need to be listening to is none other than GothixModel. Now, it is a true honor to have her on the show. Huge fan of her content. And if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it. Let's go ahead and welcome GothixModel onto the show. All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I have the true honor and privilege of having the one, the only GothixModel, Vanessa.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh man, it's an honor to have you on. You have amazing content. I love how inspirational you are, and the fact that you took a risk and just went out and became a full-time content creator and streamer. That's inspiring. So thank you.
It definitely took a lot of guts, but I'm happy where I am right now.
Hey, that's the goal,
Yeah.
And it's one of the things too I've been thinking about lately, because I've been wanting to go full-time, and a lot of people keep telling me like, oh, do your podcast full-time, do streaming. And it's like it really does. It takes a lot of guts to do that, because there's always that thought in the back of your head of what if,
Yeah. No. I mean, I think that's the best way to think about situations, is always think about what if, because I think that mentally prepares yourself for when, shit goes sour.
Mhm.
So like, even before I decided to go full time, I always thought, what if I'm not able to, get enough subs, or what if I don't get enough sponsors? Like, what would happen after that? Just to kind of think of like a backup plan. But
Mhm.
in reality, you'll never know if you can make it unless you pull the plug and do it.
That is so true. But before we dive more into that, you mind telling people where they can find you, social media links, any upcoming projects, and plug anything and everything?
Oh, okay. Well, you can find me on Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook at GothixModel.
All right. Okay. So people, we're going to leave all those links down in the description below the podcast and the video. And make sure you go and subscribe on her YouTube channel, her Twitch. Make sure you sub to her Twitch. Follow her. I guess stalk, but stalk without being creepy.
Consensual
On
stalking.
Oh man. So, you mind giving a background on yourself, like how you got into gaming, and then how you came up with your name? Because I love the name. I'm very curious about how you came up with it.
So I guess as far as how I got into gaming, this is a really embarrassing story, but
Nice.
my ex-boyfriend broke up with me years ago, and he was a really like diehard Call of Duty fan.
Mhm.
And when he broke up with me, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go get a PS4. I'm gonna get Call of Duty, and I'm gonna learn how to play this game. And he's gonna take me back because I'm gonna be a gamer girl. And he never took me back, but I ended up really liking the game.
Mhm.
So then GothixModel, at the time I was doing alternative modeling,
Mhm.
and I just kind of just picked that name as just on a whim, and then I
Mhm.
just kept kind of using that name throughout like all of my projects that I did in the industry.
Mhm.
And yeah, I kind of just I really fell in love with gaming all because I wanted to impress some stupid boy.
Cool, cool,
Hmm.
cool. That's so does he regret it now that you're a better gamer than he is?
I haven't spoken to him, but he probably, you know what? Here's the thing. Now that I'm streaming on Twitch, I feel like all of these ex-boyfriends are like creeping up from like the woodwork, like, hello, do you remember me? And I'm just like, ugh. So maybe.
Oh, dude. Isn't that something like when you start being really successful and then every motherfucker comes out of the woodwork?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
uh,
Like, I'm definitely not where I would want to be as far as like success and growth goes, but I'm definitely like on that right path. But
mhm.
along the way, just like everybody, like, who I stopped talking to for various reasons, or maybe we had a falling out, or just all of a sudden popping up and pretending nothing happened. It's very odd to me.
Because I've been having that lately too. Like a lot of people. Okay, this is one thing about Hawaii, and I'm probably gonna get a shit ton of flack with this.
Ooh, okay.
But you know what? Bring the heat. I want the smoke.
All right.
So, the thing about Hawaii, people out here in Hawaii, is everybody wants to talk about, yeah, we got the aloha spirit, we support each other, blah 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 blah. But no one fucking cares until you make a name for yourself. And y'all can go ahead and ask Bruno Mars, Jason Momoa, Dwayne Johnson, because when they were coming up, nobody cared. And I'm
Hmm.
running into that now where it's like with this podcast, apparently it's doing good. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's okay. But I went to E3 and then everybody's like, oh, you're Mekel Casanova. I'm like, ooh.
Ooh, ooh.
so, so it's like once I started getting actors on, like I had Isaiah Washington on a couple of weeks ago. I just announced I'm getting Dwayne Johnson. I'm getting Stone Cold Steve
No,
Austin.
you're not. What?
I am.
What? Oh, wow.
And
Crazy.
I'm telling
Congrats.
people, thank you. And I keep telling people, if you want to reach out to these people, IMDb Pro.
Oh,
Give,
wow.
give you all the
Okay.
information you need. So since I started announcing all these people, now all of a sudden, because this is a thing with Hawaii when you make a name for yourself, everybody's your cousin,
Yup.
everybody's related to you. Like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Mekel, that's my cousin. That's my family. I'm like, who are you?
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
I can relate to that. I've had a few people, tag me on Facebook or whatever, and just like, oh my God, GothixModel, we go way back. And I'm looking at these people and I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Like, I have no clue. But that's the unfortunate thing. It's like it's funny that you say that. When you're coming up, people don't really care until you make a name for yourself. It's almost kind of similar to like me being a full-time streamer. People wouldn't care until I showed them a paycheck. And that was for a while. So it's like it's in any industry, I feel people don't understand if you're doing some type of an alternative job. Like if it's not a 9 to 5 sitting at a desk, most people just don't care. They think it's just like some hobby that you have.
And that's the thing too, is like when you think about how much time, and this just blew my mind because I sat and did this like a week ago. I'm like, okay, I work, and I don't know if I said this on the podcast before or not. I work 15 to 16-hour days, 6 days a week.
Oof.
And I do this podcast and I do streaming. I have a stream schedule. I don't know how I stick to it. Plus, I do YouTube full time.
Mhm.
And it's like the amount of time I'm sitting at a job, making somebody else rich, being somebody
Mhm.
else's bitch, which as an analyst, when your salary, like I keep telling people, salary is kind of a con because that means how high can you drum?
Exactly. Yep.
So it's like the amount of time you spend at a desk doing something you don't love, and then you got people who've done this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, a lifetime. It's like you can't get that time back.
Mhm.
And that's why like I look at you're doing what you want to do, and other people I know like Harris Heller, Ashton Christ, all these people who are doing things they want to do, and it's like it's not impossible. I don't think it's for everyone because I don't think everyone has the grind and the desire to make it happen. But I could be
agree.
wrong.
I know, I agree with you. I think that you have to have a certain personality type to be in this industry, or at least be pursuing something that you want to do in life. And it takes a lot of grit and patience, and also like I think that the thing that sets people apart from people that want to successfully pursue something versus people that just kind of think about it is some of those people are willing to go the extra mile and sacrifice things make stuff happen, and other people may not necessarily be comfortable with doing all these extra things to kind of set themselves apart from the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely possible. I think it's anything is possible if you put your mind to it, but like it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of patience and a lot of mental toughness, I think.
Definitely does. So, this is why I want to ask is, what has been your experience, being a partner Twitch streamer, a content creator, and you got your own show. Let's talk about it.
Okay, yeah. So, for those that don't know, I've been streaming for like 2.5 years. I got partnered this January. I'm sorry, no, February. I actually got partnered in on Valentine's Day.
What?
I would yeah on Valentine's Day.
That's a sign.
Yeah, and so I went full time in January. I decided to take the plunge and quit my job in January. Went got partnership the next month after that. Um, I have several sponsorships with like Voodoo Ranger IPA, and I have a partnership with Astro Gaming, and it's been it's been definitely like a roller coaster. Like I'm always hungry for like the next best thing. I'm never content on where I am as far as like my content. And the second I see that something is getting a little bit stale, I have to shake things up a little bit. And I think that is also something that I recommend to streamers or people that are trying to pursue something where once they hit that little plateau, it's kind of stale and dead. It's like you have to just like identify that and shake it up, change it up, because no one likes to watch a rerun of the same episode over and over and over again. So like realistically,
Right.
your job as an entertainer is to find the little loopholes and things and make new content. So um yeah, it's been pretty fun. This year is going to be my second year going to TwitchCon in September. I'm super excited for it. I started a late night show on my channel called Gothics After Dark, which is kind of like it's a community interactive talk show where we can talk about subjects that people would usually deem controversial
Mm-hmm.
or borderline breaking toss, I guess, on Twitch, or terms of service. And I allow my audience to submit questions for guests, and then I allow people to apply to be on the show. So it's like a 100% community interactive, which is really nice. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing on Twitch right now. I don't know how long. Like, it's funny because like I love streaming, but like I said, I'm so hungry. I don't know how long I'm going to be labeled as a streamer. At some point, I want to branch out and do more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, I'm still kind of just going with the flow and just trying to pay my rent right now.
Well, I would definitely say you have the perfect personality for podcasting.
Well, thank you.
And like the content plus, since podcasting is booming right now, I can off air I'll send you some information because there's a lot of money to be made in podcasting.
Oh, okay. I see your eyes just like glaring at me. Like,
like
okay.
I'll just give you a ballpark figure. So I'm on Launchpad DM, which is part of Podcast One,
Yep.
and I just switched over to that. So they give you a percentage of whatever ads you put in your podcast. They promote it, whatever it, it's like a repository. It'll go out to other outlets. Plus, they promote the outlets that it's going to,
Mm-hmm.
and then they give you sponsorships and give you all this other stuff. So ballpark per month, it's probably like an extra 1,500 to 2K.
I wish you guys. Oh my goodness. Okay. Woo! I'm having a heart attack. Am I okay? Oh my god. All right, we're making a podcast. Let's
So,
go.
I will get that information over to you when we.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, like let's talk more about your show. How like how do you get your energy ready to go for the show? Like, is there any like pre-stream like rituals before you starts, or do you just hype yourself up, or you just like, hey, record, let's go live.
Yeah, it depends. It depends. Like it depends on like my current mood throughout the day. Like if I had a
Mhm.
pretty bad day, sometimes I might need to like dance around to some crazy music, maybe take a shot. I have to do whatever I have to do to put my game face on. Because like I'm like a firm believer. Like if you're in a room with somebody and everybody's just kind of like down, like you're gonna get down to it.
Mhm.
So when I look at my shows, I was like, people are coming to my channel to kind of get their mind off of things, maybe put a smile on their face or whatever. And so it's my job as an entertainer to make them relax for like the few hours that I'm on. So I do whatever I have to do to kind of like get my spirits up.
Mhm.
Yeah, just to kind of like focus my mindset. But usually that's it. Usually just music, shot, dancing. I have this when I start my stream, I generally have some type of song that I've kind of been hooked on. It depends on,
Mhm.
per stream. And I usually dance for my community, kind of like, what like Ellen DeGeneres does at the beginning of her
Yeah.
show. I
Yeah.
kind of do that, but to like a specific song, and I make people like get hyped for the show before it actually starts.
Mhm.
Yeah, so those are just a few little things that I do.
See, podcasting. Telling you. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be happening, people. You're going to subscribe. It's going to be on iTunes. It's going to be on Google
Oh
Play,
man, oh
Google
I can't
Podcast.
wait.
It's like, and I tell people all the time, like, yo, if you get a podcast going, there's so much. I mean, not only just like in the financial aspect of it, but like
Hmm.
broadening your audience. Like my friend Chris Van Vliet, he's basically like a 4-time Emmy award winning interviewer and reporter.
Hmm.
He interviews like Hollywood celebrities and all the wrestling figures. He's actually how I've been able to get the contacts for like Steve Austin and whatnot is through him. And I helped him start his podcast like I want to say 2 weeks ago. This dude is already charting on like Apple Podcasts.
Oh wow.
So it's like, yeah.
Woo. That's crazy. That's nuts.
So, but yeah, I also want to ask you, like, what have been some like your ups and downs on your journey as a streamer and content creator?
Yeah. So definitely, as a content creator, I think the number one thing as far as like my ups and downs goes is coming to terms that the internet isn't always nice.
Yeah.
And so I've had moments where I go through these moments where I don't give a shit about what anybody says about me, and then I
Mhm.
do, and then I don't again. It's just like up and down, up and down. I guess it just depends on like how I'm feeling that month.
Yeah.
So I have moments like that, and then also it's just like sometimes I go through like major burnout
Hmm.
where I'm always like hustle, hustle, work, 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 and then it's like I'm drained. I'm just mentally just I can't do this anymore, and then I end up
Hmm.
taking like a week off. So those are the two primary things that I think kind of like get me in a funk. But
Hmm.
as far as like ups, I think every moment when I stream is just like an amazing moment. I feel closer to my community. I'm always, learning about new things, learning about other people from around the world. And I have never been like a very social person in real life. And it took me up until me starting streaming to kind of come out of my shell and feel comfortable initiating conversation because that's my job. That's what I have to do.
Hmm.
Prior to this, you put me in a room with strangers, I'm going to be so awkward and uncomfortable to even say anything if somebody approached me. So that's definitely like one of the plus sides. And of course, working for myself is a plus side. It's amazing.
I never would have guessed that you'd be. So you're more like an introvert then, an
Yeah,
extroverted introvert.
yeah, I am. And I guess you can say like I just grow some massive balls when I'm streaming. But like it's odd because some people might look at that as me being very insincere and me
Hmm.
putting on some type of gimmick, but the core of my personality is this very wacky, loud, and just extra person. But when I am face to face with somebody, it's very different. I usually wait for somebody else to initiate conversation, and I'm just very reserved, you know. It's
Hmm.
easier to hide behind a computer screen, and
Yeah.
because and if something goes sour during, a stream, I can easily just get rid of somebody. You can't just dismiss somebody that's standing right in front of you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Definitely. I'm the same way. Like, it's funny because a lot of people will either watch my YouTube videos or my streams or my podcast, and then it's funny. A lot of people at my job, which I tried my hardest to keep them from learning about.
They always
So
find out.
you can't hide anything. So anyway, it's like they'll come up to me and they're like, "Mekel, you're so quiet at work." I'm like, "'Cause I'm working." Like, there's
Yeah.
it's like there's a persona. Like, I'm Mekel Casanova
Yep.
on camera, on stream, but then
Yep.
I'm Mekel James at work. There's
Hmm.
night and day. But, I don't know. As you will come to realize throughout this podcast, I'm a very I'm an introvert, but I'm
Yeah.
very when I'm out, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it comes
Exactly. Yep. I can
out.
relate.
So I know we spoke briefly earlier before we started the podcast about the cancel culture and
Yeah.
getting caught up about that. If you want to talk about it, you can. You don't have to at all.
Yeah, I'll kind of give like a kind of like generalization of what happened. So
Okay.
like I so I vocalized opinions on a certain topic online. I'm not even gonna get into what topic it was.
Okay.
But it pretty much it upset what I would call quote unquote woke Twitter. And woke Twitter was very angry with me. And I'm the type of person that if I am talking to somebody that has an opposing view that may not be in line with my beliefs,
Hmm.
I agree to disagree. That's just always how I've been with anything. I agree to disagree. I
Yeah.
kind of did the same thing with like one of my friends who like voted for somebody in office that I didn't like.
Hmm.
I have to agree to disagree because you can't just end a friendship just because like we have different beliefs or whatever.
Right.
Um and so woke Twitter decided that they wanted to cancel me. And it is probably in the history of me streaming, that was probably my lowest. And I'm saying this because this literally just happened like 3 days ago. But
Mhm.
like as far as like the weekend goes, I was just crying nonstop, and I just wanted to hibernate. I wanted to sleep. I wasn't eating because I just kept getting like messages after messages of harassments and threats. And the thing that I'm so passionate about getting rid of cancel culture, because there
Mhm.
isn't a way to make a standardized way to express that you don't like somebody. So for example, like if I don't like somebody's opinion, I just disassociate myself with them. I'm just like, all right, you know what, I might not support you anymore. I'm just gonna unfollow you, and that'll be that. um but in my situation, that wasn't enough for people, and so they kind of progressed to sending me hate mail, finding out who my boyfriend was and criticizing him, and just criticizing aspects of my life that had nothing to do with my opinion in the first place,
Yeah.
and just making me feel terrible for being alive, pretty much. And that's something that I always hate to see it happen to other people, but now I understand what it feels like.
Hmm.
And the reason I brought up my friend um, earlier is, a few years ago, she she said that she didn't want Obama in office.
Hmm.
And back then, years ago, I immediately in my head, I'm just like, you're racist. Like,
Hmm.
why wouldn't you want Obama in office? You're racist. Without like logically thinking, like,
Yeah.
there's probably a reason of why she thinks that he's not qualified to run the country.
Hmm.
But in my mind back then, I already made my decision. And so now, when I see it happening to me, I kind of understand how she probably felt being accused of something so heinous.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that is I feel like cancel culture is a trend. I don't see it going away anytime soon. And but I honestly hope it does, because like that's I would never wish ill will towards anybody, especially somebody based on like an opinion
Mhm.
that didn't suit well with you. So that's something that I'm trying to recover from now is I lost a lot of followers, but I also am not going to sit here and apologize for an opinion that I had that I actually hold true to my heart. Because the other issue with cancel culture is that you cannot. It's never enough when you apologize. Like if I apologize for something, and we see that with this with a lot of celebrities, somebody said something racist 20 years ago, they apologize for it. It's not enough though. You need to try better. And so I'm just not going to apologize because it would do nothing. Because also I'm just not sincere about my beliefs. About I I said what I said, and
Yeah.
if you don't like it, there's the door. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like, society as a whole, like from how when I grew up, I'm an 80s baby. So the way it is now, like people are so fucking sensitive
Yeah,
to
yeah,
everything. And it's like you cannot have a difference of opinion. Like everything gets politicized, everything gets taken to the fringe of either side or either spectrum or wherever.
yeah.
And it's ridiculous. Like I it's almost like now if you have a different opinion, it's about not only canceling and shutting you down, it's about conformity. It's about
Yeah,
censorship. And it's
yeah,
it's scary because the very people who talk about, certain things are becoming the thing that they claim to hate.
yeah.
And they don't even realize it. What's that old saying? Like you fight monsters long enough, you become one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this the censorship. Like I've had situations where like I've said something controversial and people try to dog me out, or they'll go and bring up old stuff, and I'm like, okay, I said what I said, and they're like, well, how do you feel about it? I'm like, I don't feel anything about it. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Just
that's
gotta let
it.
you know.
That's
And
it.
it's just ridiculous. And I've had a situation where like kind of similar, but and it's when I think about it in hindsight, it's really stupid. It actually happened last year where somebody randomly on Twitter asked me about Super Smash Brothers. And anybody
Mm-hmm.
who knows me knows that I'm not a fan of Super Smash Brothers. Like I play it, but I'm not crazy about it.
Mm-hmm.
So someone asked me, "Hey, Mekel, do you think it's a fighting game?" And I'm like, "No, I don't, because I don't think that's what it started out as. I don't think that's what Nintendo's ever pushed it as." So
Mm-hmm.
much bigger YouTuber than me, decided to tag all these professional Smash Brother players and then go all out and say, "Hey, you're stupid. Come on my channel, debate me." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm at work. I
What
can't
the
do that."
heck?
And it just kept going. He kept calling me out. His audience kept calling me out, and it got to a point where I stopped responding because I'm like, I got meetings. I can't really do anything. I'm working at a hospital. So then people, his fan base, who was so gung ho about him, they decided to start contacting my wife and
Oh
sending
wow.
her messages. And then when she wasn't responding, that transpired. Well, that accelerated, or that's not the word I'm trying to find, but it went towards from messages to threats
Right.
to sexual threats. And
Wow.
then it went further to my family, like extended family and people I know, to it, people trying to dox her. And I'm thinking like all this over a different opinion of a fucking video game.
Yeah.
And that happened last year. And ever since then, it's just that took me a while to get over, because like I know, like when you put yourself online,
Yeah.
you open yourself to a lot of things. There's some shit you just would not expect to happen.
Right.
So I can relate to your,
That's
your
so
feelings.
sad.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, that's crazy. And I think it's funny, like when I see cancel culture, well, at least when in my um in my story and with yours is similar. It's like I noticed that with cancel culture, people try to rally up their friends to advocate for them and push their announcement out about canceling you. So
Yeah,
it's not like somebody going head to head with you, it's somebody tagging this friend, this friend, this friend, or like in your case has a massive fan base and trying to attack you. And
yeah.
that's just that's so sad. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's. I mean, I'm just happy my wife is. She's able to bounce back from that, and now she's doing content creation herself, like her whole setup now, and I'm happy that she didn't let that deter her. It pissed me off because
Yeah,
I'm old school. Like I wouldn't say anything online I wouldn't say to someone's face. So
right.
I call that guy because I had his number personally, and I said, "Dude, let's square up." I'm like, let's square up. Like, nah, dude, you took this where it didn't. He said, "Well, I can't control my fan base." I'm like,
You can control your fingers from
"Yeah,
typing.
yeah, yeah."
Oh wow.
So I was like, "What?" Because when I went to E3, and this is how long I held on to that to my grudge against him. When I went to E3 last month, I was hoping I ran into him. I'm like, dude, I hope I see him. I hope. I just want to square up with him. My wife's like,
Wow.
no. She's like, let it go. I'm like, that's it. It's one thing if you come after me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's people don't understand the repercussions, like the aftermath of that. You can destroy people's like livelihood, their job, their relationships with their family over an opinion. That's
Yeah,
so sad.
yeah. It's yeah.
I think
It's
people need to have a license in order to use the internet.
you're the second person I heard to say that. Like, you gotta go through just like you gotta get a driver's license. You need one for the internet.
Yup.
Oh, but you're how are you feeling now? You feeling better a little
I'm
bit?
feeling better. I'm feeling better. This is like day 4 of like from when I initially made posted my opinion online, and I I feel so much better. And yeah, one of the biggest things that was mentioned was like I wouldn't have got where I am if it wasn't for um black Twitter, I guess,
Hmm.
because like I'm a person of color, and so like when we're talking about like diversity on Twitch, it seems like there seems to be a lack of, and so that's just what, and that's pretty much who I pissed off was like a lot of black streamers, not all of them, not all
Hmm.
of them, and so it hurt me to hear that it appeared I was only trying to cater to uh, a demographic of just white people, and
Hmm.
that's not the case. For me, like I judge people based on their character
Yeah.
and not the color of their skin. And what was said to me, what was done to me, uh, I would never have done to anybody else, regardless of their skin color.
Okay. Well, I'll say this: whoever bothered her, whoever bothered you, y'all can square up with me.
I love it. He'll meet you at next year's E3. All right.
I catch you around the corner. I find you on booth 5. Yeah, I see you over there. But no, I mean, I understand that because I get that from people out here in Hawaii, and I've actually gotten that from Black Twitter as well. That well, so from the Hawaii side, from my
Mhm.
Hawaiian side, I get that I do not cater with my content to the Hawaii audience. I don't talk like I'm from Hawaii. I don't act like I'm from Hawaii. And I get shit for it because a lot of people say I'm exploiting being in Hawaii just to grow my brand.
Yeah.
Okay. And then from the Black Twitter side, they're like, oh, you don't promote such and such. You're not promoting hip hop or this or that. You're not, trying to bring up other Black content creators. You're part of the problem. Okay. Can I just be me? Can I just do my thing?
I just want to be happy. I just want to be
Yeah.
myself.
Right.
I don't like people dictating what I have to do with my life. I remember the day I stood up to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna dress myself. I don't want you picking out my outfits anymore. I am my own person. So it's like, as an adult, when people tell me I need to think this way or I'm not black enough, oh, that pisses me off.
God, I hate that. I hate that. They're like, oh, Mekel, you're not, you know, are you sure you're black because you listen to rock music? I'm like, I play guitar.
Aw. I'm like, no. No. What's your favorite band?
Right now or all time?
All time.
Okay, all time Motorhead.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you guess mine?
You don't seem like a Guns N' Roses type of person. Sex
It's funny,
Pistols.
it's funny that you say that because like I have no issues with Guns N' Roses, but I used to date somebody that would literally play one of their songs on repeat, and that literally drove me nuts. So just his voice, take me out. It's so obnoxious. But like my personal all-time favorite band is System of a Down.
Ooh. Okay, you got me.
It looks like
You got
that's
me there.
Sting.
You got me there. No, that's a great. I like them. Avenged Sevenfold.
Mm-hmm.
God, I was listening to one. I listened to them earlier today. I can't even think of the name of it. Shit. Okay, I'll remember.
He'll come back. He'll come back.
But yeah, because of that, you know, I'm not black enough because I
Nope.
like rock music.
Of course.
It's like, okay,
All right. Okay.
yeah. So I guess our car is being taken from us.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. Ooh, it's fine. I'll go renew it in a few years. It's fine.
What's your favorite song from System of a Down?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many.
Two.
Oh
my God, that's worse.
That's worse. That is so worse. I honestly, and I'm not even joking, I feel like I like all of their songs. There's not one song that I don't like. And that's a lot. Like all of their CDs, I like every single one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as like the titles of them, I can't even remember because it just looks like a blur. I'm still waiting for an opportunity to see them live. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. Yeah.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the band Disturbed? Oh,
don't like
that
'em.
face.
I don't like them. I don't know. They're okay. They're okay. I don't know. They're all right. Look, you're just laughing. I had a few friends that were just like, "Yeah, Disturbed." I'm like, they're okay. I guess because like me with like System of a Down, like their personalities are just like very like crazy and out there, and I guess I kind of relate to that. Disturbed, they're just like, I don't know, dude bros are just singing sad songs. I don't know. Like
3 Days Grace.
Indifferent about it. I don't really listen to them.
Okay. Avenged Sevenfold.
I like them. They're good.
Okay.
Haven't actively listened to them, but I do like them.
Okay. So, your top 4 bands that you need to recommend to the audience to listen to.
All right, so definitely System of a Down.
Hold on, let me give you the mic.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Right here. Yes, right here. So it's weird because number 2 would have been Five Finger Death Punch. No longer though, and I'll tell you a very quick story. I basically saved up money to go to one of their concerts, and this was the infamous concert at Worcester, Massachusetts, where the lead singer was pissed drunk and blamed the reason he wasn't able to perform on stage was because of his mom dying from cancer. Come to find out, his mom was not dying from cancer. He was just drunk, and he didn't want to sing. So, great music. I will never give them a cent after that. Yeah. Aside from that, let me see what other bands. think those would probably be the only top two. Oh, I don't know because like I like listening to old school stuff too. Like I love Metallica. Um, I love things like that. I feel like my taste in
Motorhead,
music is kind of going backwards a little bit. Like,
Motorhead.
oh, you know what? Listen, agree to disagree. They're all, it's just like, I gotta fit my flavor. Um, yeah, but it's like I really don't listen to that much music anymore because I'm so focused with streaming.
Hmm.
But like now I find myself listening to more like 80s rock than anything.
Okay.
So like Van Halen, that type of stuff. I prefer listening to that, I think.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, would you say that it's painful cutting on the radio these days?
It's painful for the radio. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I like diverse music. I will listen to pretty much anything except for like country and folk music.
Hmm.
Uh but I really do like hip hop, but I get a little bit irritated with hip hop because I feel like I can tune in for an hour and hear the same song 3 times.
Yeah.
And that gets a little bit annoying, and that's why I usually stick to rock if I'm listening to the radio because like every day they're playing like a throwback. It's throwback every day. They play all kinds of like types of rock music, and with like hip hop or like any other like genre that's not rock, I feel they're kind of doing it for like money. Like let's
Yeah.
play this song 4 times because they're giving us a lot of money for this playtime. Um, which is I don't know, it's kind of unfortunate, but like yeah, as far as like hip hop, I'm tired of the mumble rap. I don't know what you're saying, bro. I don't know. I don't get it. You got good beats, but I literally cannot decipher what you're saying. So, and that's why I stick to 80s rock.
Don't you feel like it's so lazy now? Like, if you were to go back, let's go back 10 or 12 years,
Mhm.
rap then, hip hop then
Mhm.
to now, I just I went back and I was listening to some old T-Pain, some Buy Me a
Yes.
Drink, some Twista, like, and the stuff they were coming out with back then, like, you had a dance for every song. You had music to get you hype, music to
Mhm.
get you to drink, music to get you wherever you needed to go. Now it's
Mhm.
like everybody's using the same Fruity Loops type of beat and mumbling like, okay. And it's like it's so funny because I'll be at work and on break somebody will like say, "Oh, you heard a little something, little this, little that." I'm like, "No." They play it. I'm
Oh,
like, "What is this?" They're like, "Man, this is hype." No, no, this is no.
no. What do you like about this? Oh, the lyrics. All right, can you decipher them for me? Like I don't get it. Oh man, yeah. I like old school rap. Even as far as back, like I'm talking like Salt and Pepper type of
Ooh,
that, or like, like Run DMC, like but even like 90s stuff, like I'm good with that too. It's just like now with the mumble rap, that's just like a trend.
yeah.
It's super lazy, but I mean I also can't fault people for making a living doing that. Like I could make a rap song at this point.
Oh, okay. So, I know you did a YouTube video recently where you had like a Q&A where you spoke about, going full time as a streamer and, like the excitement and the fears that come with that. Do you mind delving more into that?
Yeah. So for those that don't know, I have been for the most part up until like this past January, I've been working in call centers pretty much my entire adult life. I dropped out of high school, got my GED, and I pretty much just been like, "Hi, how can I help you?" for like 10 plus years. And because that's all I knew how to do, and that's a job that is always in demand.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where I was actually really tired of it. And I was like, I want to find something else. And What I tried to do is I tried to apply for a supervisor position at one of the call centers that I worked at. And after I had my interview, they told me they wouldn't give me the promotion because it seemed like I didn't want to be there, which is true. I didn't want to be there, but I did want extra money. Like, if I'm going to be miserable, at least pay me more.
Right.
so, so after that, I was like, screw it. I'm just going to start applying to other companies. And I
Mhm.
probably went on like 5 interviews, and every single one of them was like, no, 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 no. And at the time, I had a blue mohawk. So I
Mhm.
don't know if that was maybe a reason for them not selecting me. But it was very clear that my type of personality is probably not suitable for the corporate America.
Mhm.
So at the time, I had a coworker that was streaming on Twitch part time, and she told me about it. She's like, "Oh, you can make extra money." And I'm like, "Oh, awesome. I want to make some extra money." So I bought a camera. I bought like a very cheap gaming PC that was terrible. I brought all these things, and I went into it thinking I was gonna get rich after the first stream. It was great. I didn't make a cent for like 8 months. So that's definitely not I was expecting something else, and that's not what it ended up being.
Mhm.
But anyways, like up until like I think the year and a half mark, that's when I was just like, okay, I think it's time for me to pull the plug, because like I had people telling me in my ear like, you should do this full time. You should try it, because how else are you going to know that you're good at something and you can succeed unless you try it?
Mhm.
So I was definitely scared, and it took me another 6 months after that to finally quit my job. I had to, look at my numbers every day, see what the income was, and try to like estimate if I would be able to self sustain myself um, if I made that leap. And that's pretty much what I ended up doing. It was the most nerve wracking thing, to be perfectly honest with you, was
Mhm.
when I had to tell my mom, whom I don't live with, but
Mhm.
my mom is very like judgmental.
Old school.
Yes. So I told her, I said, so mommy, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to uh stream on the internet. And right off that, they think it's something else. So I'm like, I'm gonna stream on the internet for money.
Mhm.
And she said, okay. She said, okay. And I thought that went too well. She just said, okay. So I said, okay. And then uh if like a few months afterwards, it was Christmas time,
Mhm.
and I had made an announcement on my personal Facebook that I was also going to make this plunge, and I was hoping that I would get support from people in my family and stuff. And I'm like, "Hey guys, so I'm going to quit my job in January to pursue something. If you would like to help me pursue this, here's an Amazon wish list of things that I need." And I had toilet paper, I had soap, I had shampoo, I had like every type of necessity on my Amazon wish list. And right before Christmas, my mom shows up at my door with like a 40 pack of toilet paper. Like she has like a bunch of toothpaste. She's like, and then she wrote me this very nice letter. And pretty much to sum it up, she said, like, when you told me you were gonna quit your job, I was nervous. I didn't know what you were gonna do, but you're an adult, and I stand by and support you regardless of what you're trying to do. And I can only stand here and help you, which is very like shocking to me, because like I said, my mom has never been the most like understanding or patient when I say I'm gonna do something that kind of like doesn't sit well with her.
Yeah.
It was nice to see her come around and say that I'm going to support you. I'm going to be in your corner.
Hey, that's huge. I'm glad your mom did that, because like a lot of people, I think a lot of us, like our parents are from that generation where you got a good, well, you went to school. Was it how's it go to school, get a good education, get a good job, have a family, work for 20, 30 years at that job, and retire and live off your retirement and social security. That's
Mm-hmm.
so boring.
Yup.
God.
Yup. Exactly.
So is I'm in the same boat where I'm an analyst for a call center,
Mm-hmm.
so at a hospital. So I know how fucking boring that job is. And it's mind-numbing too.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. Yes, people are from my job are going to watch this. Yes, I hate my job.
Like, so we heard your podcast. Could you elaborate on that?
So when you say you hate the job, to what degree do you think it's mentally impacting you? Yes, I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like I've had a lot of people, and especially when I went to E3, like a lot of content creators, like YouTubers I know that I've been a fan of for years. I got to meet and hang out with a lot of them, and a lot of the voice actors and actors I know, like all of them were like, Mekel, you've got a really good show. Mekel, you have good content on YouTube. You have fun streams. You should do this full time. And I'm like, I don't know if I can.
You can do
And,
it.
and one of my friends, Gamer Thumb, he was telling me, he's like, dude, you should just go all in with it. I'm like, what about a backup plan? He's like, just go all in. You'll never know until you try. Because he was in the same position as like you and I. Like he worked at a call center and he went all in, and he's doing really good for himself now, like after like a year or two. And I'm over here like, I would love to do that, but we just got a house.
That would be the tough part. Yeah. Like you have to dream, but also dream responsibly too. So like that's a tough one. Like you just got a house, and I know some people like are popping out kids, and they want to like stream full time and or, pursue their dreams or whatever. So I can see how that might be a little tricky. Um, yeah, you have to use your best judgment, I think, of and kind of like save up, save, and my recommendation to you: cut out things where you don't think is necessary. Like me, the first thing to go, oh, no more cable, goodbye. Second thing to go, oh, I don't need a car if I'm streaming from home. I don't need this damn car. Sell it. So like, you know what I mean? So just like whatever works for you in your situation, if you think you can get rid of something, because I think like humans are so used to having things to keep us entertained. So we kind of accumulate stuff that we don't need. We buy shit that we don't need, and that shit adds up eventually.
Yeah.
So like I think it's just like being more conscious of like your spending habits and then having that backup plan. It makes it so much easier in the long run. Like even with me as a full-time streamer, I buy in bulk. I have like a savings jar that's separate from my bank account. And I don't do impulse buys. I look for sales, I look for coupons. Like I am just like all in this because I'm like, I need to save every penny.
Oh, so my wife she's telling me I should go full time. She's
Mhm.
like, we got money saved up, but you should also, she said, get a business loan. She said, pull out a loan and let's see if you can do it, the next 3 to 6 months if you can make it. And I'm like, what if I don't? She's like, you're in IT. You could always go back to IT. Like,
True.
True.
It's
I
true.
don't want to go back though.
I mean, you don't. I mean, that's the goal, to not go back. But I mean, technically, you have a better job than what I had when I left. All I was doing was picking up the phone and be like, "Yes, I'm sorry that you're upset about your order. Let me see if I can reimburse you." Like, it's just boring shit. Like, you know what? I don't need a degree for this. You, on the other hand, you have something that I think is in high demand. So I think it would be, I think you would have more of a cushion just having that ability to go back into IT if you wanted to.
But I don't want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you needed to.
So I want to ask you, like, how important or imperative is it to have a backup plan, or should you just go all in?
It is so important. It is so important. I have gotten a lot of questions from, streamers in particular
Mhm.
that ask me if, for example, Gothics, I just lost my job. I got $40 in the bank. Should I stream full time? No, go to work. Go get a job. You need to go get a job. But Vanessa, I'm not suited for corporate life. Me neither, but you still need to eat. Like you need food in your system. Go get a job. So like, And I think part of it is like a lot of people have this idea that they need to reach their goal by a certain age, or
Mhm.
they need to like do things as quickly as possible because they see other people that are like flying by them, and they're just like, well, they're successful, why not me? So I need to start now. And that's not always the case. Like, there is no timeline. Like, some millionaires out there are probably just now like getting their fortune at like age 50 and up. So like, it's really it's really not a race. But people need to definitely be a lot more responsible, especially like if you have no money in the bank and you're pursuing your dream and you're working for yourself. You have to also consider like taxes and things like that, like what things are legal as far as like whatever you're working towards. And a lot of people don't consider like the back end things of like the law and paying your taxes and doing all this stuff. So definitely not something that I would recommend doing on impulse, just quitting your job. I mean, if you got fired, I mean, I would still look for a job, but in the meantime, I would try to fix up a game plan of like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and kind of make deadlines for yourself to work towards achieving that goal. Just like little micro adjustments every day to kind of work towards a goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I also like, and I want your opinion on this. Because I have a lot of people that come up to me and they're like, man, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be a streamer, or a podcaster. And they say, this is all I want to do. I
Mhm.
think if you've got a job and you're willing to not only work your job, but also on the side do that, like podcasting, YouTube, whatever. If you can balance that and you're really hungry enough for it, then I would say, plan towards at some point, yeah, you can make it happen. But I see a lot of people that they'll talk about it and then they'll be like, oh, this is too hard. Oh, it's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah. I it's hard. It's hard. You gotta suck it up if you want it. If do you want it bad enough is like my first thought. It's like, do you want it bad enough? Because if you don't want it bad enough, there's gonna be somebody behind you that does want it bad enough, and they're gonna take your spot.
yeah.
So I think it like that, and I never recommend going into a mindset of saying like this is what I want to do, especially without getting the full experience. Because like me, streaming, I can already tell that I would love to get into like event hosting, maybe stand up comedy, something like that. You never want to be stubborn either. Like you never want to say like this is what I want to do and this is the only thing I want to do, because the reality is some people may not be cut out for something, not because they don't have enough drive, but literally because like it's just not a good match. But there are hundreds of other things that you can find that could make you happy and are kind of in line with like the same thing that you were originally pursuing. But the only way to find that out is if you try different things.
Yep. Yep. I agree. So I got to ask you, how liberating does it feel being your own boss, waking up when you want to and not having to work a job that you hate? How does that feel?
Woo! Oh, let me tell you, I can sleep. Oh, I can sleep in. If I wanted to, I can get drunk at night, get a hangover, wake up late, and turn on the computer. Boom, I'm live. Like I don't. There is no dress code. I mean, technically there is. I can't be naked on stream. Like, but for the most part, there is no dress code. I can cuss at the office. I consider this my office. I don't have shitty coworkers. I don't have to answer to anybody. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But at the same time, I acknowledge that the road to being a content creator is often a very lonely road, because you're working so much in the beginning, and I still am trying to get like myself in an area where I can just kind of coast for a while.
Mhm.
But right now I'm just still trying to like build up that momentum, and that could mean me neglecting my social relationships, my intimate relationship, and sometimes it can be a little bit stressful, but yeah, it feels nice. I'm happy. Despite all the crazies and the cancel culture and all of this other bullshit, I am just genuinely just a more happy person.
That's that's inspiring.
Yeah.
That's really inspiring. Because it's that state of happiness. I don't feel a lot of people ever in their lifetime even achieve.
Hmm.
And it's like
Yeah.
you're able to live it, and that's that's motivational for me.
Yeah.
I know it's motivational.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I'm always stressed. Like, I am fucking stressed. But I also substituted depression and I just traded it with stress because of like the stress of like thinking about finances and the stress of like trying to pursue something and thinking that I'm gonna fail. Like I would rather take that than just being depressed, going to work every day, working for a company that you hate, working with employees that you don't like, and just not being content with pretending that you're something that you're not. Like me in business casual attire is just like mortifying.
Can you imagine having to wear business casual attire out here in Hawaii where you only have, okay, so there are 3 temperatures in Hawaii,
Huh.
3 seasons, you know. We got hot,
Mm-hmm.
hotter.
Mm.
No, actually, I'm wrong. There's 4. Hot, hotter, hot as fuck,
Ooh.
and goddamn.
Oh no. What temperature is it right now?
Right now, it is 87 degrees with a high humidity, and it's raining.
Ooh. Oh, that's
So,
gross.
so yeah, you step outside, you're sweating. I have the AC on. I don't know if
Oh
you can hear
wow.
it,
I can't hear
and
it.
I'm still sweating. It was so hot 2 weeks ago. I was actually doing a podcast with my one of my friends, Miss DJM. She's another podcaster and Twitch streamer, and we were talking about how hot it was because you literally the heat just felt like it was like suffocating you. There was no trade winds. It was like, God, how do you? It felt like it was 110 degrees,
Wow.
and
Mm-mm.
it's like you're taking polar bear showers. You're putting ice in a tub and just sitting in it.
I would be miserable. I can't stand the heat like that. Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah. So
Nope.
yeah, and then imagine having to wear business casual with that kind of weather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I know you've done like tweets and you've done videos about this, but what's the most effective way to like utilize social media in order to promote yourself and grow your audience, and how imperative is it to use social media? Because I know a lot of people use those retweet bots and then they do the follow for follow, or what I also think is bullshit, which is the support small streamers. Oh,
Oh
that
my
look.
god. Yeah, it's terrible. So like with here's the thing. I think a lot of people get this in their mindset that there's like a shortcut
Mhm.
to success. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that I never did any of that, support small streamers, retweet accounts, and all that. Like I definitely did. Like I just said, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get famous like right now, and it just did not work like that. And to be perfectly honest with you, the quicker I became more comfortable being open about my life and just showing my true personality and expressing my beliefs on things, that's when my social media following started to grow a lot. Because the thing is like if you're going through like something in your life, like if you think you have like a personal problem that's going on, there are trillions of people on this earth, and more than likely somebody's going on through, with the same issue. So it's never a personal problem to you. It might be, but somebody probably have shared it or is going through the same thing or will go through the same thing at some point. So it's always good to use social media in a way that you are just relatable to people.
Mhm.
And I always like to go with the term relatable rather than funny, because I think a lot of people try to use this I'm gonna get viral mentality by posting like a video that they did or a YouTube clip, and they think they're hilarious, but like what you think is funny about your stuff may not necessarily be funny. Like there's different spectrums of like funny stuff, and so it's
Mhm.
easier I think to just be honest and relatable and raw for your audience.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Um, so with like tweeting,
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed a lot of people don't know or understand like how to use hashtags and
Mm-hmm.
uh or putting in like hashtag retweet. Like what is your approach? because I noticed you don't use a whole ton. Like a lot of people will put a metric fuck ton of hashtags, and I feel like that's just confusing the algorithm of who to send your content to.
Yeah. So I'll start by saying this because sometimes I don't clarify enough.
Okay.
Uh, Facebook, no reason to use hashtags, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
Instagram, you can use up to 30, I think, in the comments, not in the post, in the comments. Twitter, 0 to 2 hashtags. That is it, and it has to be. And the reason for that is because like the algorithm between all these platforms are very different. On Twitter, if you use like 10 hashtags, Twitter looks as that as like you are a spammer. Like it looks like spam. So Twitter is thinking like you're just one of these weirdos that are trying to like sell random crap to people on the
Yeah.
internet. So they're not going to promote your tweet as much as like the other tweets that have like less hashtags. And also, the likelihood of somebody retweeting your post if you have more hashtags goes down because it looks ugly. Like it sounds so stupid, but like if it aesthetically is not pleasing, they're not going to retweet it because if it looks like spam, they're going to assume it's spam. This is why a lot of people try to tag companies like tag companies and then use a bunch of hashtags. That company isn't going to retweet it because it looks like spam. They don't want it on their timeline.
Yeah.
So some of my most popular tweets honestly have no hashtags, and I'm talking like thousands and thousands of like likes and shares or whatever. They have like no hashtags, and it literally just comes down to, like I said, being relatable and just not posting a block of text. You want to post like things in increments. Write a sentence, make a space, write another sentence, make it more digestible. Because like I'll tell you this: if somebody sends me a DM that's like 45 paragraphs long, I will not read it. I literally have no time. So like we have to assume that people are like that on social media as well. If you post something and it is just a block, like a blob of text,
Mhm.
forget about it. Forget about it.
Okay. That's because that's something I've been trying to figure out with like with Twitter, because I'm seeing like some of my posts when I put one or two hashtags
Mhm.
with a video, it does well.
Mhm.
If I put 5, 6 hashtags or more, probably get one person like it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then when
Yeah.
it comes to like Instagram, I have noticed a trend where people will put like a picture or a video, like a paragraph, and then there's like the comment under with all the tags. And I was always wondering, I'm like, why do they do that?
Mhm.
But now that you clarified that, I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's aesthetically more pleasing to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much more time you got?
I guess I got like a half hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of questions left, but I want to ask you, like, when it comes to like Twitch and trying to grow a following, what do you recommend? Like, I know people try to do the whole follow for follow or join this Discord group and drop your
Yeah.
link or this and that. I don't think that works, but
It doesn't work, and I think people try to justify these type of lurk for lurk, follow for follow communities as a way to be visibly appeasing to sponsors.
mhm,
I'm gonna tell you right now, sponsors talk, companies talk,
yeah,
so you're not fooling anybody. You are literally being Your name is literally being put on the back of the list. So don't do that. Um, Also, you want to think about like what you can bring to the table. A lot of people try to rush their brand and just like make a logo and then make graphics for themselves without really thinking about their brand, like for example, I know somebody that they have like Fortnite graphics all over their page, and their logo has a Fortnite character, which isn't legal. So they have like a Fortnite character. And so my question to them is like, what happens when Fortnite dies? What do you have to bring to the table?
yeah,
Because it seems like you're basing your brand off of a game. So what is it about you? Oh, I love having I'm a positive streamer and I like making people laugh. Like, yeah, you and like 5,000 other people. So again, what do you bring to the table? And some
Yeah.
people don't want to think, whoa, maybe I might be boring. Like nobody wants to think that, but it's something to think about. And you literally cannot give the bare minimum effort and expect people to tune into your content. Like you need to stand out. You need to think strategically of what it is that you offer that no other channel does.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I think that's a part of it is people rush into this and they don't sit down and really think about like all the little aspects of how their audience will perceive them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I see that too with like YouTubers making channels like, oh, especially with the Nintendo Switch. There are so many Nintendo Switch channels.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought in my head is when Nintendo goes to something else, you branded yourself Switch Watch or Switch this or Nintendo Switch channel. Like, how do you grow from that? Because I get it. You're
Yeah.
riding a popularity hype, but business wise and strategically, it's foolish.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. It's like I kind of got the same thing. Like I have like a lot of like crazy visuals on my channel, lots of animations and sounds and
Mm,
shiny things. And I remember for a while after I had implemented that into my channel, I would get a lot of people randomly just like, how did you do that? Can you show us how to do that?
mhm,
And I would always say no. And it wasn't because I was selfish and didn't want to give away my secrets. It was because I would look at their channel and I see they just started out and I'm thinking this isn't a priority to you right now. Like you really need to focus more on other things on what makes you stand out because if you go to, E3 or whatever as a streamer, you can't bring your graphics with you. You can't bring all the shiny doodads with you.
mhm.
So like what is it when we strip all of those fancy things away? What is it that's going to represent you as a broadcaster rather than all the little gimmicks that you might have?
True. Very, very true. So, um, what challenges have you faced? Being a female gamer and streamer, and what have you had to overcome? And is there any advice you would give to any girl streamers who are listening to it, or girls who like gaming? They're listening to this podcast, or will watch it, or listen to it later on.
Yeah, as far as challenges goes, ooh, let me tell you, there's a lot of hate for female broadcasters. Oh my goodness. Uh Not from everybody, but there are people who broadcast that look at women and assume they're only gaining popularity because they're pretty or because they're just female or because they show cleavage or and it's just very discouraging to hear
Mhm.
because like I work so hard to build my channel and that's literally the first thought that people go to is like, oh, you're a girl, you have it easy. It's like, no, it's not. I do a lot of work that you don't see. So the only thing that I could recommend to females that are on this platform is um don't worry about what other people are doing first of all because like I am very guilty of starting up my stream for the first time and trying to replicate what I consider the pretty streamer girl, like the just very just like quiet and just like a visually appealing uh to people. Basically in my head I was just like people are probably gonna flirt with me and that's okay because I want viewers. Like in my head, I was subconsciously preparing myself for this. But it's not something that I wanted. I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea because that's boring.
Mhm.
And I want to just do my own thing. And I think that's one of the best things to do is just like do your own thing and whatever everybody else is doing, do the opposite.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so here's a question: how do you deal with people that are envious of your success and make comments such as "You're so lucky" or "I'm so jealous"? Like, ow. Anyway, or that, or that.
Oh no. Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, these comments. Oh, because I've heard that so many times. So I have, every now and then I get a company or business reach out to me and they're just like,
Mhm.
hey, we want to send you something. And I'm like, awesome. All you got to do is open it on stream. Great. Thank you so much. I open it on stream, or I do social media posts, whatever it is. And that's the first thing. You're so lucky. And I'm like, wait a minute. So this didn't just happen. This is like literally like 2.5 years in the making of me putting myself out there for this company to even pay attention to me. That's not luck. That's hard work. And it drives me nuts. And to be honest, like I used to say stuff like that too when I would see like some rich dude driving a Lamborghini in my town, like, oh, it must be nice, without thinking that maybe that person actually worked really hard to get that Lamborghini. It wasn't just handed to them. And I think a lot of people, when we see things that others have and we don't, we have this assumption that it was just handed to us as like a gift, versus putting any actual hard work into it. So what do I have to say about that? Shut the hell up. I don't got time.
Oh, have you ever had people like reach out to you for like help with their channels or with their brands, and then they want you to do all the work for them and they make no effort themselves?
All the time. All the time. I for a while, I indefinitely stopped doing this, but for a while I was offering stream coaching.
Mhm.
Because like I'm not the quickest streamer to be growing, but like I feel like I'm growing at like a pretty decent rate for most people that start up on Twitch. So I was offering coaching lessons, like paid coaching lessons, because my DMs were getting out of hand, and I would get like, at first I was getting like, I would say like 50 messages a day, and
Mhm.
maybe 20-30% of those messages were all the same question. So what I started doing was offering the coaching, but also putting more content on YouTube to kind of go over these frequently asked questions so people can stop asking me. But yeah, I do get a lot, and like I try to help when I can, but I think people take a little bit of offense to it when I don't get back to them. And it's like, but you have to understand, like if you see the platform that I have, it's not ridiculous to think that maybe I just literally can't sit there for 5 hours and respond to everybody. So I
Yeah.
try to help when I can. I try to offer as much free content as I can, but I'm human.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So, um, how does it feel like being able to work with gaming companies and tech industry, like, and the fact that you were in an Astro Gaming commercial? How does that feel?
Oh, that felt so good. That felt so good. So like I never. It's funny because like before I started streaming, I had no idea who Astro was, because
Mhm.
I was very new to PC gaming. So
Mhm.
I had a Razer, and I knew of like Skull Candy headphones. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll just I'll do that. And so when I discovered them, and then it led me to being on the commercial and doing some photo shoots with them. I'm like, is this happening? Like, is this really happening? So like it's crazy to see that companies that are usually very idolized within the gaming community want to work with me. It's very humbling at the same time. Like I'm a little bit in disbelief at times.
Mhm.
um I definitely want to work with more companies, but like yeah, it's a very nice feeling once you get to a point where just like all this hard work is finally paying off, where people are paying attention to you.
Definitely. And how does it feel being sponsored? And are there any stresses and or like requirements that you have to maintain to keep being sponsored?
Yeah, really my sponsor is Voodoo Ranger IPA. That's the only sponsor I have. I have, partnerships with like Astro and stuff for like equipment and things like that, but like my sponsor is Voodoo Ranger IPA, and they with any sponsor they usually give you like a contract of what you have to do within a certain time frame,
Hmm.
to keep the sponsorship going. So yeah, I have a certain amount of things that I have to do, and also talk about the product, and hey, I get free beer out of it, so that's good. So like it's also like again very humbling, because Voodoo Ranger IPA is by New Belgium Brewing, which is like a massive craft beer company. And it's like, you paying attention to me? Okay, all right, thank you. Like but it's nice. And it definitely didn't happen overnight, and it definitely didn't happen the first time I streamed. Getting a sponsor takes time. You can't expect somebody to sponsor you when nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah. Um, what would you say like is is it better to approach companies for sponsorships or just wait until they approach you?
You can do either. I usually say wait until they approach you. And the reason that I say this is people have egos.
Mhm.
And people may not be self-aware to identify when is the right time to message somebody. So somebody that has, 10 viewers and just started out, it's like, yeah, I'm going to write somebody for a sponsorship because I'm awesome, not really thinking from the business aspect of it. A lot of people in this industry think with their feelings versus thinking with things that are business conscious. And so that's what I think runs into a lot of problems. So I would say wait. And I think if you did want to approach, keep an eye out for like, what is your impact that you're making on your community? Are you able to create noise around your brand? Are people paying attention to you? If you, for example, if your social media, you're bringing in like 5 likes a photo, you're probably not ready because social media is like another extension of like you being a broadcaster. If you have more value if you can diversify yourself on other platforms versus just on Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're down to the last three questions, and I
Mhm.
want to ask you, like, what are some of your interests that fans may not be aware of that you'd like to share?
Oh man, I love food. I love to eat. I love to try new restaurants. I'm not the best at cooking. I'm actually trying to get better at cooking. So like I started getting into like those meal delivery kits that you order and they like Blue Apron or whatever,
Yeah.
and so I can kind of learn how to cook. Still terrible at it, but like I just yeah, I love cooking. As far as that goes, I want to get into like traveling more. I'm like a relaxation junkie, probably because I am so tense and stressed all the time.
Hmm.
One of my goals within the next year, hopefully, I would love to like go camping.
Hmm.
And I don't mean like a cabin. I mean like in the dirt. Give me a tent. I want a can of beans. Like I want to go camping in the wilderness with a bear without my phone. Uh, so yeah, that I you're gonna think I'm crazy for this. I went. Do you know what white water rafting is?
Yes.
Okay, I went twice, and I don't know how to swim. So I so I'm also a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, and so when my friends are like, "Hey, let's go ride these rapids," I'm like, "Okay." So probably not the smartest thing to do, but you know what? It was a fun time.
Oh, oh my goodness. That
He's
sounds
just
like fun.
shook. He doesn't even have anything else to say. He's like,
I,
I
how do you follow that
He's like, I don't know. I do not know.
what are some projects that you have in the works that you're allowed to talk about?
Projects. I don't really have any projects per se right now. I'm kind of going for like a slight rebrands, like nothing major, just kind of trying to make things a little bit more consistent with like my personality. I like to always use the example Elvira, because she's like an iconic horror icon. And if you think of Elvira, you think of very big poofy hair with big boobs and just like this slinky black dress. So I'm trying to just rebrand myself so it's consistently identifiable to people.
Mhm.
Yeah. And otherwise from that, nothing really else going on. I was included in a few submissions to host a panel at TwitchCon this year, so I don't know if we'll get approved for that, but that's something that I'm hopefully looking forward to.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
And any advice you give to fans or in the audience here that would love to get into, streaming or content creation or being able to work with companies?
So as far as streaming goes, like I said, dream responsibly. Don't cut the cord from your job when it's not responsible or the right time. Really think about what you can offer to a platform versus just playing like any random game. Um, Also learning to bite your tongue on certain topics. So like I'm very vocal about certain things, but there are some people of what I would consider very toxic where they go on these tirades about a specific type of person. Like for example, like female streamers. I hate all the female streamers. They only take viewers from people because of their boobs. And what they're doing when they post that online, they think that, a year down the road, when they try to get that sponsorship, it's not going to be found. But as we can see with cancel culture, it's always on the internet. Regardless if you delete it, there's always a way to pull it back up. So people have to be a little bit more conscious with that, and just learning that this is a business and you have to treat it as such. And if you're making enemies, it's going to be a lot harder to grow.
Yeah.
And then as far as like you know getting sponsors, like I said, just take your time and work on your content and stuff. Don't expect a cent for a very long time. Don't have zero expectations. That is literally zero. One of my favorite speakers is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he says, "You want to be happy? Have zero expectations of other people, and you will be happy." And that's literally it. Don't count on anybody to pay your bills, to promote you. Count on nobody, and you will be happy.
All right. So when are we going to see you out here in Hawaii?
Oh, I would love to, but I was looking at those plane prices. We need to have a talk because that is so expensive. But I would love to at some point.
Cool. And I lied. I actually have one last question.
Go for it.
Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. This was great. Okay, I was going to say best, but I have another podcaster friend that will literally scalp me. So I said one of the best podcasts that I've been on.
All right. And then again, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at Twitch, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and YouTube at GothixModel. Gothix with an X, not a C. If you type a C, you're going to find someone else.
I love the consistency across the board.
Yep.
All right. And people, if you want to catch this podcast and many others, you'll be able to catch it on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova. And I need to get better at this outro. So let me take a deep breath. All right. So you'll be able to find this on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Coming soon to I lost track of my thoughts, and I'm trying to come back thought. Anyway, you'll be able to catch this on Launchpad DM, which is part of Podcast One, and coming soon to Sirius XM Radio in a syndicated format.
Nice.
So just catch the Kasanova Podcast, #1 podcast in the state of Hawaii, 2 years straight, which is a record. There's only 17 podcasts out here in Hawaii.
Oh, no.
And with that being said, is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we go?
I think that's it. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. And with that being said, people, we'll catch you on the next one. Hey, did you enjoy this episode of the Kasanova Podcast? Well, I'm sure you did. And since you did, and you're wondering where else you can find it on every podcasting outlet. Yes, that includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Launchpad DM by Podcast One, and so much more. And the only thing I ask of you is if you truly enjoyed it, even if you didn't enjoy it, please leave a rating and tell us what you thought of it, what you like, what you didn't like, and everything in between. And also, if you're looking for video formats of this podcast and many more, you'll be able to find them on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova, as well as on twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova, and new episodes every single Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, with that being said, this is Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber. I am signing out. You guys have a great one.